Good morning.
Welcome, everybody, to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Chrysan, TK joining us from Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. I'm coming to you from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios. We appreciate our show, as always, being presented by L'Auberge Casino. TK and the gang was over at L'Auberge Casino on Saturday morning for Sports Shorts Daily. A lot of action over there at the Barstool Sportsbook, getting in on the weekend with all college basketball in full effect, NBA, and, of course, the championship games on Sunday, the AFC and NFC, which leads to our first story. Super Bowl is set. Is it the Kelsey Bowl? Is it the Andy Reid Bowl? Take your pick, but it's going to be Philadelphia versus Kansas City Chiefs. Both the home teams advance. Different paths, no doubt about it. The Eagles had an easy road as they overwhelmed the 49ers. Of course, the 49ers had injuries at quarterback, and they had no chance in this game. On the other side, the Kansas City Chiefs showed some moxie. Patrick Mahomes showed why he's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. He even played hurt. He was fantastic. And it took a boneheaded play. And I know, it took a boneheaded play as Mahomes showed a lot of guts as he gets the first down, runs out of bounds, gets shoved in the back to 15 yards, and made it a 45-yard field goal with 8 seconds left. And the Kansas City Chiefs knock off Joe Burrow to go to the Super Bowl, where they are an underdog. What's the line on the Super Bowl, Tommy?
It opened up at 1.5 Eagles. Now it's 2. I've seen 2.5. Over and under's been around 49.5 or 50. It's going to move around depending on the injury report for both teams. But Eagles are technically the home team. Every odd number Super Bowl this year, 57, the NFC's designated home team, which means Eagles will be in their green uniform, so they get to pick what they want. So that's the line as of right now. Hey, both number one seeds meeting in the Super Bowl. I think that's the first time that's happened. But, Ronnie, I got a comment about all 4 teams this past weekend. You remember a couple of years ago when they said they could go from 16 to 17 games, and one of the players' union said something like, hey, how can we keep these guys healthy? You're playing an NFL game, and on Monday you feel like you've been beat up by Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali combined. Lots of injuries on both of these teams coming into the game, during the game. These teams are nowhere near 100%. The 49ers are playing with far less than a full deck. And then the receivers are out for the Chiefs last night, and they found a way to do it. I don't know if going to 18 games is the best idea, or you're going to have what happens in the NBA, the load management. They're going to really say, okay, we're playing the second team this week because we got guys that need to heal. I think it's a reason for concern, but you had, a blowout game because the 49ers were playing with far less than a full deck. Then you had a game that went down to the wire with the Bengals and the Chiefs. And Burrow got hit 12 times. I forget the number of sacks, but hit 12 times, counting the sacks, because they only had 2 of their offensive linemen that played the first 15 games. And, and they lost a receiver during the game last night. Injuries happen. It just seems like it's a little more. And I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know it's from the longer season, but I think the people who are smart enough need to look at that.
The the Osai kid, the linebacker out of Texas, he was in with 8 seconds left, shoved Mahomes in the back and put him in field goal range. I'm curious if he doesn't shove him in the back, Tommy. It's 8 seconds left. At that point, it would have been a 60-yard field goal that clearly would have tried to run another play. Although, did they have a timeout left?
No, they did not have a timeout, so they had to run something quick, quick out on the sideline, which you can run in 4 or 5 seconds, 6 for sure. But the sideline commentator said kicking that way, nobody made more than 50 yards in the pregame. Now, wind change, it got colder, but they used the special footballs. A lot of layers here. But I can say that, it's a mistake you can't make, and he feels bad. I'm sure he does. He let his teammates down, but it's a mistake you cannot make. You can't make that one in week 3, much less in the playoffs.
You can't make that in college, Tommy. It's not like this is a new rule. He's had plenty of football where he knows, when that quarterback is near that sidelines, first off, anytime near the quarterback period, And I know Chance and a lot of people had comments about the refs being horrible yesterday, particularly in that game. What was the biggest issue you had with the refs yesterday?
That third down, when they repeated third down. Okay.
Right. Oh, that was brutal.
Apparently the ref was trying to stop the play, but he did not stop the play. So you have to let the play go. And Zach Taylor, Bengals coach, he was livid, and he went to one of them on the sideline referees like, you got to do something about this. This can't happen, you know. And then, of course, they get the third down over, then they get the penalty, and they ended up punting. But still, I mean, you can't have that happen in that. Right. I thought the best referees who were graded throughout the season worked the playoffs. This is not the case. I mean, these guys in both games made countless errors that you can't make. I get it. Like when they screwed up the catch by Devontae Smith, okay? One ref's backs to it, the other ref's looking at it, and you got replay and you can't get it right. I mean, come on.
So on the third down play, and again, like you said, as it really turns out, if you break it down letter of the law, it probably didn't matter in the game. It was egregious, but as it worked itself out, it didn't matter. But I would say that, you know, when they showed the replay of the referee running in, waving his hands, and I'm assuming blowing the whistle, waving his hands, you got to be committed. You know, saw how he kind of pulled off when the play was kind of developing. Like, no. You have to keep blowing the whistle. You have to keep waving your hands. You have to keep running to the middle of the field to where, you know, hey, y'all are running this play, but this is dead. And I get it. It's loud and nobody's expecting to look at this corner, but you have to be committed full force in that situation.
But, Ronnie, here's the first part of that problem. They let the clock run after an incomplete pass. That can't happen. Okay, right. So if whoever's running the clock does their job, then you don't have this situation. So it really backs up to, how can you let the clock run after an incomplete pass? When you got 90,000 referees, I mean, okay, you got
the clock started.
You got three guys.
Whenever you wound the clock for the play clock, they started both.
Okay,
those are inexcusable mistakes. You're right.
So they should have whistled down. You're gonna have to go to that Sky referee and said, "Stop everything right now," to the head ref, and then all the refs can. There should be some command they can give all of them. So it's a multiple layered mistake, starting with the fact that the clock wasn't properly managed.
You would think, man, that in this day and age with all the technology and all the staff and all the everything, not to say that mistakes don't happen, but it at least should be minimized, and it should, when mistakes do happen, they should be caught right away. And it wasn't in that case.
Well, I mean, Ronnie, we worked in Rougarou games last year. And if it was one out, the scorekeeper had no outs. Hey, scorekeeper, we got to get one out up there. It's not zero. You know, that happened more than a few times with the Rougarou, balls, strikes, whatever. But in the NFL, I mean, whoever's running the clock, they probably got three people with him in that booth, communicating with guys on the field, communicating with New York. Somebody should have noticed that one guy noticed it, but then he couldn't get heard. Like you say, he wasn't committed to stopping everything.
Yeah, it's like he blew the whistle and ran in, and then as the play started, he kind of like backed up, stopped, slowed down. No. You got, and then who's the other? Like when you blow the whistle, there's not other people don't hear it. Like there's not earpieces or something, a buzzer. I don't know. It's bizarre to me, but anyway, the Chiefs look. The Bengals with that offensive line, we thought that offensive line was going to look like that last week against the Buffalo Bills. We thought they were going to struggle last week against the Bills and not be able to protect Burrow or at least make it close. We were a week off because they were awful yesterday. Joe Burrow is a warrior. He proved it, in the past when he had a bad offensive line. We proved it last year when he used to get hit and sacked and get up. And they thought they improved the offensive line. They did. Unfortunately, they had the injuries, and it really just kind of cost them yesterday. When they had the chance, they had the ball twice, an opportunity to go down and win the game, and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, well, Shane makes the comment they need some linemen. We said that after he got hurt in his rookie year, and I'm sure the Bengals know that. I'm sure they did. They're working on that this morning. Shane.
To the Bengals' credit, they did improve that offensive line from a year ago. But I mean, they didn't know that three guys were going to get hurt in the last couple of weeks of the season. And they'll continue, I'm sure, to pour resources and depth and everything into that line as well. They should. But I mean, it was this close, man. It was this close. But give the Chiefs the championship pedigree, a lot of credit. They did enough to be the home team. They were hurt and banged up themselves. I mean, their secondary was decimated. You got their 2 stars on offense were playing hurt, and now they get 2 weeks to get healthy. And I know the Philadelphia Eagles are the favorite, and I know it's going to be run versus pass on paper, but I'm going to take the Chiefs. You give me points, Mahomes and the Chiefs in this situation with the experience and Andy Reid, I'll take them.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what I'm going to do yet on it, but certainly we'll have to take a look at that. But and as Chance said, can't allow the NFL. He's thinking the rig thing here, and that was all over social media. Look, I truly do not believe the games are rigged. I don't believe that. Okay, I never will believe that. However, do you have poor officiating mechanics? Do you have poor officiating calls? Do you have poor replay reviews? You got all of that. I mean, so
listen, it wasn't one-sided in this thing, and then the other thing is that the officials didn't tell the Cincinnati linebacker to shove him in the back when he was out of bounds. I mean, they had to make that call. It was obvious to Stevie Wonder. Everybody could see that was, you can't push a player out of bounds, and it doesn't even matter that it was a quarterback. It was the fact that it was, he didn't just shove him. He shoved him face down. He landed on him. Like, it was obvious that they had to throw that flag.
Oh, yeah, no question.
As soon as it happened, it was like, here we go. They lost the game on that. That the officials didn't have anything to do with it. Now, the officials did have something to do with it on that LeBron James call that kind of rattled the whole world, that everybody was up in arms with.
I'm glad you brought this up, Ronnie. Dear LeBron, quit acting like a 2-year-old and just had all your Christmas presents taken away. That bad missed call, which the NBA admitted, that missed call is offset by the 4,367 times you got the call. You got the benefit of a whistle or a non-whistle because you're LeBron James. What? I mean, less than 10 people care about LeBron James. What a fool. He's an embarrassment to himself.
Look, the thing about it, though, that helps LeBron in his argument, Tom, is that the NBA came out and said, hey, we were wrong. We blew the call. We should have gotten it right. But no, I agree. And in the NBA, I mean, here's the thing that shocked me. I went to a game a few weeks ago, sat on the second row. A buddy of mine, Brett, gave me his tickets, literally sat on the second row. I was literally behind the scorekeepers. I mean, I could see the computer screen. I was sitting so close to them. And I could not believe at the bitching and complaining, the constant arguing, every single call between the officials and the players and occasionally the coaches. When I tell you, Tommy, every single time there is a foul, there's a player in their ear. It is not an easy job. These guys are so big, so fast. They move so quick. I mean, they're flashing to the goal. How do you determine if a hand hit here or didn't or whatever? I mean, sometimes it's obvious. A lot of times it's not. But I mean, I'm telling you right now, it is a constant legal battle. Every single time there's a call. I mean, they are chirping in their ear nonstop. It's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's out of control. There's no question about it. How about your boy, though, from the Lakers, bringing the camera out on the court to show the ref that he missed the call? He got a T for it. He care less about the fine that comes with that T, but he brought the camera. I want that dude as my teammate. He brought the camera out there.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Ryan. It's probably a living hell to be an NBA ref. Like you said, you were so close to the court. You observed that. I can remember Jazz games in the late 70s when I'd be that close to the court. I don't know if it was every whistle, but there was a lot of bitching and complaining going on.
I mean, it's so funny. There's some players that never foul. Basketball is the hardest game to ref, no doubt. But LaCroix needs to shut up and play. LaCroix. So
Shane, you get the award for the comment of the day.
LaCroix.
Although Ronnie, I got an award now I gave myself after Saturday.
What's that?
The most terrible bet of the year.
Oh, my God. You went on Sports Shorts Radio Saturday morning and screamed at the mountaintops at Barstool Sportsbook at LeBears that you were smarter than everybody. You'd slept on it. You thought you had the bet of the day. You were going to look like a genius. Why don't you explain what an idiotic bet you made?
I bet LSU men's basketball on the money line. Okay, I thought it's just time for them to win.
On the
Now
money
they
line.
were down 2 points, Ronnie, with 9 minutes to go, and I'm thinking, if they can have a little burst here, make a little, 12-2 run, maybe I can get lucky and be smart. It never happened. So
In the
I
second
will
half,
wear the heat. Yeah, they were down 2 with 9 minutes.
in the second half, they were up 5 at one point.
I didn't know that. I mean, I was just looking at the score.
No, I think later than that. Like, I think they were up 5 under
Okay.
9. I have to look back the play-by-play, but they were up 5 at one point, Tommy, with maybe 5-6 minutes to go.
I just thought that it had to be their turn. Texas Tech had lost 8 in a row, although they didn't lose by 25 points like LSU did. Hey, that's why they call it gambling. So on January the 30th, I'll officially claim the most terrible bet of the year was by me. We'll see if somebody can top me between now and the end of the year, but we'll have to wait and see. Chance, no, I was not. And, of course, you can go to the Hold the Rope YouTube page to see that interview with Wes Johnson. Pretty tough there. They had him on opposite Burrow and the Bengals playing. But go to YouTube, Hold the Rope, Skip and Cano, if you want to see that interview with Wes Johnson, the pitching coach for LSU. One thing, and I think we knew this, Ronnie, correct me if I'm wrong, and we're bouncing all over the map here, but Jay Johnson said Friday he tried to hire Wes Johnson the year before.
He did.
For whatever the reason, it just didn't work.
That was as soon as Jay got the job at LSU and he's putting together his staff. He actually told me, he said, man, if I get this guy, he didn't tell me who. He said, but I got a guy I'm working on that's a game changer. Hope I can get him. It's a game changer, and he could. At that point, I don't know if it was a combination of, I think Wes had some unfinished business with the Twins. Probably the Twins didn't want to let him go, whatever. It just turned out to be the right thing, and the money was too good. I mean, literally, he's doubling his money at LSU versus what he was making with the Twins. And then obviously, it's a lot different experience being a college coach. You don't travel as much and all that kind of stuff. You're at home more, so it's a much more favorable environment. Not to mention, Wes Johnson goes from being one of 32 pitching coaches, whatever, in the league, to being arguably the top 1 or 2 pitching coach in college baseball. So, it's a change of career and all, where if Wes Johnson does what we think he's going to do, he's either going to be the pitching coach at LSU for as long as he wants and probably eventually make $1 million a year. I mean, he's close to that now. His package is like 7 something if he hits the incentives. He'll be the highest paid pitching coach in the country. He'll make 6 figures like an offensive coordinator does now. Or if he decides he wants to be a head coach, he can be probably the number 1 head coach candidate in the country, if he wants to go do that and make maybe $1.5 million or $2 million a year somewhere. So this was a change, but he probably got out at the right time, Tommy.
Yeah, and Shay makes a comment, he gets to spend time with the kids. I've met one of his daughters. He's got his whole family here. I've met one of his daughters several times during the fall when I was in the pitching lab. But anyway, so it says Jay has had to kick Wes out of the office sometimes. Jay's there all the time. Yeah, no, it's LSU baseball, like Ronnie said on Friday, anything short of winning the national championships, and there's going to be a level of disappointment. Not the end of the world kind of disappointment, but like I told Ronnie Saturday on Sports Choice Radio, after going to the press conference Friday, I got one word to say: wow. I mean, that's all I can say is wow, because this is a loaded baseball team with a great coaching staff and the greatest college baseball fans in America. That's a pretty good recipe.
All right, Tommy, I'm looking to try to figure out when that lead was by LSU when they were up.
Okay, you got the play-by-play. I saw 53-51 Texas Tech, 9 and change to go or 8 and change to go.
Okay, LSU was tied with 7:33 to play. They were tied. As far as when they were up, 56-53, they were up with 8:44. They were up with, I guess a little over 8 minutes is the last time they had the lead. But they were up. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so with 8 minutes to play, they were up 3 is last I saw. And then it went from there. Look, LSU scored. If you told me LSU was going to score 68 points against Texas Tech at home, I would have thought they probably won, or maybe at least covered, right? But the fact that they got beat by 8, the first half was a high scoring half for those two teams. They're both terrible teams. But listen, I don't know, Tommy, if LSU basketball wins another one. This was their best chance. They taken on a Texas Tech team that lost 7 or 8 in a row. This was their best chance. They're at home. Now, I mean, they're back to the SEC. I mean, yeah, they might luck up. A blind squirrel finds a nut sometime, but I mean, like and get a win. But that's 2 wins if they do it. And I don't know. It's terrible. But listen, LSU. I think 11-2 or 12-2 betting against them against the spread in their last 13, 14 games, Tommy. So you just got to stay with it. No matter what the line is, stay with it, bet against them.
Okay, I'm going to go back on the Ron train. I did hit the Eagles over the weekend, missed on the Bengals, So
I hit on the Eagles too. The Bengals, don't push them out of bounds. We go to overtime, and you never know what happens. We had a chance. One last thing, you mentioned the LSU baseball press conference. How many people were at that press conference? Was it
70 to 75, probably. I'm guessing here 14 or 15 cameras, on the tripod. You had all the old school guys like Joe Macaluso. I love talking baseball with Joe Mac. We had Ed Daniels, and then you had the young people. I don't know half of them, but it was a good mixture. And like I was guessing, when Jay Johnson had his last preseason press conference in Arizona, there were probably 4 or 5 people in the room, if that. And now he's got 75. He's handling it a lot better. I think that first year there was a little sticker shock for him with the passion for LSU baseball and the media coverage and this, that, and the other. Now he's totally on board. And I thought he did a great job when he gave his comments and then answered all the questions that were asked of him. It was a little over 45 minutes from start to front, from front to back. And it was crowded, Ronnie, no doubt.
The bottom line is that the only things that we discovered at the press conference was Skeens is going to be the number for the Friday night starter, which everybody already knew, but he solidified that. And there's a battle still at catcher and second base. Everything else.
Dylan Cruz is your center fielder.
And I'm guessing Joe Bear's in left. Did he say that?
Jordan Thompson is absolutely the shortstop.
Right.
Ronnie, as we talked about last season, 3 weeks before the season, Jordan Thompson had a procedure on his knee. Okay, and that kind of didn't get out there a whole lot until halfway through the season when he played a little better in the second half. But Jay Johnson said he's good to go. He's the shortstop. His bat's there, and that's your shortstop. Other spots, they got a lot of good players. They got a lot of arms. That's the other thing. He talked about you got to have major league arms if you're going to win in Omaha. He said Southern Miss last year when they lost in that regional. They had 2 guys that are going to be in the major leagues pitching for Southern Miss that day. He knows that's what you got to have. He went out and got it. We'll see what happens. So,
as far as did he go through the line? Like, did he say Joe Bear in left field?
No, he did not. Coach Manera used to give you 1 through 9 and who'd be the backup. He didn't do that at all. He just talked about, that second base. I asked the question, where are we at with the catcher position? And he said the guy's been doing good. Malazzo's bat has improved. But other than Dylan Cruz, Skeens, and Thatcher Hurd and Christian Little are the 3 guys for the weekend at this point. He didn't get deep into right field, left field. He kind of almost said if Trey Morgan would play outfield. And he said, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think he caught himself, because you're going to have somebody at first. And the only question I wanted to ask, and we ran out of time, was when Skeens was pitching, was he going to hit? Or would they put another guy in the lineup while he's pitching, which is what I think they'll do. And then when he's not pitching, obviously, play first or DH.
I hope they let him hit. He's too good of a hitter not to let him hit. And we're acting like batting is some taxing thing when they did it for 150 years, So, let's go. The guy's an athlete. He's pitching once a week. Come on, he can bat and throw his jacket on or whatever the hell they want to do. But second base is interesting to me. They keep throwing the name Dugas out there. To me, Dugas would have to hit like a mofo in order to like give up the defense that you'd get with Guidry or you get with Napolt, the VCU transfer. Merrifield, like, had a really good fall. That was a surprise. The Dutchtown LSU Eunice transfer, who was kind of just a backup last year, but he supposedly had a really good fall, threw his hat in the ring. So you got 4 guys battling for that position. Unfortunately, that's not very uncommon. You got, whoever doesn't win the battle. So let's say hypothetically the Napolt kid playing second base, the VCU transfer. Now you got a guy in Muirfield who can play any of the infield spots, third or second. You got a guy in Napolt who can slide over the shortstop if needed. Guidry, who played shortstop in high school, who can also help you there, or second base. You got a lot of freedom and flexibility there.
And Jay did say he's got confidence in all them guys. That if he's got spots when he can put them in a game, he expects them to help the team win. So he really didn't throw shade on anybody. And he talked about how last year he asked some guys to do things they weren't, he kind of pushing it, whether that was a pitch count or whatever. And hope to not have that problem this year.
It's going to be awesome. Like I said, as long as there's not a cancer or two on that team and they can accept their roles or can accept the fact that they're not playing as much. I mean, granted, you're going to be disappointed and you can be angry, but you got to keep that stuff in and not be a cancer. As long as those things don't happen, that causes an internal problem, there's just no reason to believe that this team – look, anything short of Omaha is disastrous, and anything short of a national championship is disappointing. But they have got to get to Omaha. Like, that would be catastrophic.
Well, you're number one in every poll, number one recruiting class, number one transfer portal, but you still got to go line up, get 27 outs. They're not going to go 56-0. Just everybody needs to know that. Okay, you still got to go play the game, and you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad at bat. Pitches are going to get ripped one night. I mean, I think that's all what's going to happen. I mean, but do they have so much talent that they could go 45-11? I don't know. We'll find out.
All right, he's Tommy Christ, and I'm Ronnie Rance. Before we get out of here, tell us about Court Street Cafe.
Ronnie, they got a special event coming up this Saturday, Galentine's. They do it every year. It's really for the ladies, where you come out here, you sip, you shop, great food. They got a bunch of vendors coming in. So you guys, if you're looking for something for your ladies to do this weekend, or you ladies that are listening, go to Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Check out Facebook and Instagram for their annual Galentine's event this Saturday, February 4th. I want you to check it out. Of course, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week here at Court Street Cafe, 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Again, connect on Facebook and or Instagram. Find out about the Galentine's event. A big turnout last year. They're expecting the same thing again this year.
He's Tommy. I'm Ronnie. We'll be back this Thursday and Friday. A little programming. We'll be back Thursday and Friday morning for Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, enjoy your week. Tonight, sold-out game at the PMAC. LSU Lady Tigers taking on Tennessee. It was a packed the PMAC night. Tickets a little cheaper than normal, and they are completely sold out.
Ronnie, I saw on the secondary market, $47 a ticket. Now, I've been in Baton Rouge.
For a $7 ticket.
When you used to be able to go to Albertsons and get free tickets to watch the women's play, okay? If you bought a Diet Coke, they gave you 2 tickets. But, no, and for those that can't make it, 6 p.m. on ESPN2 on the Deuce. So check it out. Tennessee 16-7, LSU 20-0. Tennessee got clocked by Connecticut last time on the floor. So we'll see in front of a packed house how Amanda Reese and the rest of the Tiger basketball team can do for Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, I remember, the day I found out I was going to have a daughter was the day that LSU was playing Tennessee in a Pack the PMAC game back in 1999, and it was free tickets. That was Sue Gunner was the coach, and the Pack the PMAC was literally free tickets. Just show up. They let everybody in free. They just wanted to fill the stadium, and they sometimes did, sometimes didn't. And that was when it was absolutely free. This time around, they did a $5 ticket if you bought 10 or 15 or more tickets, and it was like $7 a ticket to just get in for this game that's sold out.
So ought to be fun. We'll see how that goes. And again, we're back Thursday and Friday with Sports Shorts Daily. But connect with Sports Shorts on YouTube and Facebook and all that. The red letters on the white circle. And you'll connect with me. You'll always keep up with what we're doing and when.
All right. For Tommy and Ronnie, we'll see you later in the week, everybody. Have a good one.